Hey everyone, today's video we are going to be looking at when to expect your peak fall foliage. Now before we could get into the video, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new and turn on post notifications so you won't miss a single upload or live stream on the channel. Let's look at the fall foliage prediction map week by week. So this is August 30th. We're already past this, but we are already seeing some minimal and patchy areas over in the mountainous areas, even northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, northern Michigan, over in the northeast, and even West Virginia. We are seeing some minimal fall foliage already going on, and we get to about now, as you can see, we are seeing some more partial areas. We are seeing some more fall foliage going on in those more mountainous areas. We're starting to see some partial foliage over there in northern Minnesota. Then we get to next week, September 7th, September 13th. As you can see, we're going to see near peak conditions over in the more very mountainous areas. We're going to see more of those near peak conditions over in northern Minnesota. Then we get to September 20th. As you can see, we're pretty much seeing those peak conditions over northern Minnesota. We're seeing peak conditions in more of those extreme mountainous areas. We're seeing peak conditions over in this whole type of region right there by September 20th. And we're seeing peak conditions over here in northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, in Michigan. By then, we get to the end of September, September 27th. Now, as you can see, we're seeing past peak conditions over in the mountainous areas. We're starting to see some more peak conditions for the more terrain areas, non-mountainous areas, but still mountains over in those areas, but less terrain than the early peak conditions. As you can see, over here in this little spot, southeastern Missouri and northwestern Arkansas, you're starting to see partial conditions by September 27th. And you're starting to see a lot of these minimal conditions reach down more of the central U.S. By October 14th, you're starting to see patchy conditions over all of this area here, and starting to see more minimal conditions over here in more of like Nebraska, Kansas. You're starting to see more peak conditions over in the northeast. We're starting to see some activity happening in the mid-Atlantic. Not a bunch, but more in the mountainous areas, you are seeing a lot of the activity. More of October 11th, you're starting to see more peak conditions in most of the U.S., especially the Midwest area. Over here in the Mid-Atlantic, you're starting to see more widespread peak conditions by then. And then October 18th, pretty much the whole 80% of the U.S. is seeing fall foliage by October 18th. And then October 25th, we're seeing fall foliage start for the whole entire U.S. Pretty much the southern part of the U.S. is still not seeing peak fall foliage by then. But as you can see, November 1st, we're starting to see pretty much past peak conditions for this whole 75% of the U.S. Just in peak conditions in those more purplish areas. November 8th, as you can see, we're pretty much past peak by then. And November 15th, we only have a little more spots of Texas, Louisiana, and Florida that still have those peak conditions by then. So we're pretty much seeing past peak conditions by November 8th for the most of the U.S. So also be my personal forecast for when to expect your fall foliage. As you can see, let's start up into the mid-September area where you're going to expect those peak fall foliage conditions in those yellow areas in mid-September, like we went over those predictions on SmokyMountains.com. It did predict that mid-September, and I'm pretty sure this pretty much happens every year, so this is pretty much a reminder of when to expect their peak fall foliage, but because some people do kind of forget over the summer. As you can see, mid-September, you will expect those peak fall foliage conditions in those yellow areas. So that's in the northwestern part of the U.S., more mountainous areas, northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, northern Michigan. We're also seeing some peak conditions around mid-September in the extreme northeastern U.S. By October 1st, you should see peak conditions going over from the northwest, going kind of a U-turn around the mid-September area, and then kind of avoiding the main central plains. As you can see, that goes into the Midwest and then finishes off over in the Mid-Atlantic. That's where you will see peak conditions starting around October 1st. October 15th, so mid-October, you're going to start seeing some very widespread peak conditions over in the Central Plains, over in California, Phoenix, reaching into the Mid-Atlantic. You're starting to see some of that peak fall foliage, and then by November 1st, most of the U.S. has seen peak fall foliage by then, and then mid-November, pretty much it just has to finish over in the extreme southeastern U.S. If you did enjoy the fall foliage forecast for the 2021 season, be sure to subscribe to this channel if you are new and turn on post notifications so you won't miss another video or live stream. And also make sure to share this video with any friends or family that may want the latest on the peak fall foliage forecast. But anyways, stay safe.